What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, reviewing today's Star Wars Battlefront II. At what point do you consider something not worth playing? This is a really hard question because it comes down to many different factors. If a game is fun but the story sucks, maybe you try it but quit early. Say the combat is boring and yet the world is so alive you want to keep digging deeper to discover more of it. There can be a mix of both good and bad and something we end up loving, but what about a game that has something so broken about it, no amount of stellar shooting can make up for it? On the surface, it's easy to enjoy Battlefront 2. With its shockingly realistic graphics and cool new single player, it appears to be exactly what we asked for. However, the problem that sits at the core of this controversial title is that all the mechanics in this are so obviously designed to milk extra money out of you. Seriously, every single aspect of this is based around microtransactions. This could be called Wallet Wars Loot Crate Edition, and I wouldn't be surprised. We'll get to that in just a minute. Let's begin with the freshly introduced story mode, since really this is where Star Wars shines brightest. Throughout this universe, one thing we rarely see is the point of view of the Empire. Most of the characters we've seen and learn about are rebels, which is fine, but I always wondered how someone could work for a leader so evil. Well, now we're getting a real answer to that in the form of Iden Versio. She's a soldier in the Empire's famous Death Troopers squad, the most highly skilled agents who are sent on the hardest missions and always succeed. Carrying out these top-secret sneaking operations with her team shows us that from a certain perspective, she's doing the right thing. In fact, the first person we ever see her talk to in the story is a rebel interrogator, trying to force information out of her by threatening to chop up Iden's droid friend. Witnessing her journey unfold is fantastic, especially as a fan of Star Wars. We get to actually fly through the wreckage of the Death Star, get stranded on new planets as Luke, and see events we only heard about in books. Honestly, the campaign is probably the only part of this game that's truly worth playing, because when it comes to multiplayer, you're just entering an arena of flawed ideas. There are basically three main modes you can try online. Large-scale battles with 80 players clashing to capture major points, dogfighting which lets you pilot legendary ships for tight skirmishes in orbit, and the tinier but more focused matches of Strike. Each of these looks and feels very much the same, since Battlefront 2 has some extremely solid controls. Whether you're running through burned out corridors in an enemy base and trying to plant a bomb before people respawn, or you're just walking through the streets of Theed with a laser shotgun mowing people down, it's such a rush. The gameplay here is out of this world, and yet it's heavily tainted by the pay-to-win leveling. So let me break this down for you. There are tons of classes in Star Wars, and each one has a main speciality. For example, the Assault Trooper is designed to move quicker but carry smaller rifles. By competing online, winning matches, and helping teammates, you earn in-game money, which can then be spent on loot crates. These boxes randomly give you new upgrades for your classes that let you customize how they play. Star cards, as they're called, let you trade out abilities of your character or maybe improve a certain element. Like, at one point, I made it so every kill I got as a sniper was worth more points. That all sounds fine, but there is a massive glaring flaw at the center of this, which is the system can be easily abused. If these special items could only be gotten with in-game money, this would make things a little bit more balanced, because more skilled players would just be unlocking gear faster. That makes sense. But the problem is that people are just spending hundreds of dollars to boost their star cards very early on, giving them a huge advantage. It really comes down to whoever is richest, gets the most loot crates, can just dominate the game. When you first start jumping into matches, it's easy to tell that something is wrong instantly, because there will always be this one guy who is murdering the entire team by himself. The way that this is possible is because star cards in fact come in multiple forms, with more powerful stuff of course being more rare. If you attach a rare card to a hero, it can completely change how that class plays. For instance, if I reduce the cooldown of my special attack and make it so that same special is also converted to a giant super laser, well then obviously I can clean up a whole army by myself. Oh wait, it gets a lot worse. So the better you do in each round, you get bonuses that keep you at the top of the charts. This is a new system called Battle Points, which makes it where as you compete in a match, you earn currency that lets you buy heroes. These rewards only last for that single game, but make it where as you fight harder and do better, you're actually able to lead your team to victory. It's a system that's really smart in my opinion because it makes it less random than it was in the first game. Here's the issue. The people who swiped their credit card and got super weapons are going to be dominating early in that round, so therefore they're going to be getting the giant super Jedis right at the start. Having Darth Maul spinning 90 seconds after you land is stupid and instantly kills the fun, since he is a god compared to normal soldiers. The only way to stop him is to keep throwing yourselves against him, get a couple shots, and then die until eventually he just gets bored and gets killed himself. Now, if this happened occasionally, it wouldn't be nearly as painful, but almost every match has some pay-to-win jerk dominating the field. What really drives me crazy about this is today they came out with a huge patch to try and fix these errors. Seriously, this is the updated version that makes heroes cheaper to buy and are supposed to correct a lot of these issues, but it just doesn't. Overall, the problems of Star Wars Battlefront 2 can simply be boiled down to this. The developers at the studio clearly wanted to make the perfect sci-fi shooter experience, and through their thousands of hours of hard work, they nearly did it. At some point before release, Electronic Arts stepped in and made it so unlocking the stuff you actually want to use is such a pain in the butt. They just want to slowly nag you into buying loot crates. That's really all this game even exists for. The best aspect of this project is the story, but unfortunately, it's constantly overshadowed by some of the worst pay-to-win multiplayer I have ever seen. Okay, so we've heard some good and some bad, but let's over the ratings board and put a big number on it. I am giving Star Wars Battlefront II a 6 out of 10. Normally, I try and end my videos with something positive, and it's just so hard with this one. There aren't any jokes to be made other than the fact that this is just such a freaking dumpster fire. Instead of buying this game, which you should not do, go look at some memes. Every part of the internet is poking fun at this train wreck of a freaking mess, and seriously, it deserves to be mocked. Do not buy Battlefront 2, or else they're just gonna keep making games that are this broken. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. This has been DreamcastGuy with another review. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Screw loot boxes forever. Oh, hi. I'm just working on the next video. If you want to see what it is, go ahead and click this button and you can subscribe. Also, if you click these video links, you can see my latest review and my latest top 10. Now I'm just going to sit here for a minute and wait for you to subscribe. Oh, I guess I could put on these giant glasses. I literally found these on a roller coaster.